Hi everybody, welcome back to Godsky podcast. My name is Alex and you're listening to episode 7 and I call it as always anniversary 1 because for me to get into point of just start the episode and start to give my points and host it takes me a while, not even material wise because I'm really taking that passion to new heights. I'm preparing material. I'm not even like looking, but if I stumble upon something interesting, I'm thinking maybe that's time to talk about it at podcast. And I'm really excited to just hit the play button, hit the record button. It still gives me the chills, still gives me the thrills. And at some point, I even thinking maybe I started too slow. Maybe I should stop it and start again and give better intro, but it's better for me just keep going and go with the material. Also, as always, it's happened to be like tradition to record this like late night. I don't know why. Maybe it's really mentally prepare myself to start a podcast. It takes me a whole day, and also the rush of ideas is basically coming at these hours. It's the time when your head is still wanna wrap around if you're not critically tired and you had a lazy day as I had today. It's the time when your brain is starting to give out the new information, new ideas, and even take me even more time today to start the podcast because as I was about to hit record button, I'm spilling the cup of tea all over the table. It goes to the floor. I'm moving all over the place to save the keyboard, to save the phone. I'm started to clean it up. It started from the table, devices, and it's back to the floor, and from the floor I've mopped the whole apartment because the hell, why not? It's already past 12 a.m 12 a.m actually, and why not to mop the floors? That's the great best time, right? So I mopped the floors. I've prepped myself new cup of tea, and meanwhile, while I was doing that, I had pretty much more new ideas in my head. For example, let me start from just the simple things. I was thinking about that experience. Why it takes me so long to prep new podcast? Why it takes me so long to make a material, or even I have a free time a day or a weekend, I'm still more or less procrastinate and not really making it much progress. I do small steps, but the biggest steps I'm doing, it's all usually when I have a squeezing between some busy days, and I'm squeezing a little bit time, and that's where I'm making a big progress. But whenever I was thinking, wow, I have a whole weekend on myself, I'm gonna work hard on my podcast, I'm gonna work hard on maybe some commercial stuff to you know uh, advertise myself a little better. But no, it's usually ending up me just chilling and listening some history podcast and being just mesmerized by how gracefully he's doing it, how professional they sound. They all sound really clear. They sound, their accents are like nice to hear. Their the flow of the speech, you can hear how experienced they are. They're like the other example I can find in myself. Whenever I play video games, I really experience in that. I can get into a game and learn pretty fast mechanics, pretty of any genre of game, and I'm and I have like that muscle reflex, my even this like keyboard or a joystick, I have really nice performance. And for people outside sometimes who struggle, even like try to play the game, they really like mesmerized and fascinated how can I make it so fluent and so effortless. And that's it's not like I even take pride for it. I'm not just saying, just experience. I'm not really proud of it. I'm enjoying the game and that's it. I'm not into speed running. I'm not into some other forms of peacocking in the games. I'm just playing for sake of it. I just enjoy it. And that's how I enjoy to see people to be professional about podcast. I enjoy to see their fluentness. And it took me a day to prepare this one, and it's sort of a lazy way of doing. And what's interesting, the people who's like motivational speakers, they kind of in my eyes, like I changed my perspective. I was thinking they're really like great, and then I changed to a perspective, they're like meh, they're whatever. You can motivate people all the day and they will be more motivated to hear you motivating them. So motivation itself became a addiction and not the action itself. But my problem now with the motivation speakers, they've put the snippets in your head that you're like feeling like great about yourself, and then they give you the like harmful information. For example, one of the it's like popular idea, if you're passionate about something, you wake up, you think about it, you go into sleep, you're thinking for the next day to wake up and come back to it, and you're trying to get there, and you're trying to make your passion, you want it as the breath of air. The same way you can't breathe, you can't be without that passion. So for the writing, you gotta be into writing. And it's actually sounds really nice and cute, like let's say somebody trying to be a basketball athlete, so he gotta be all about the basketball, all his life is revolving around this. And maybe at some examples it can work, but let's say for the example of my passion to podcast, in my eyes, I'm living the dream. In my eyes, preparing the podcast and having this talk and having this experience, it's everything. It's I'm living the dream right now. And that was my dream in a long time, and I was not like I wasn't even had the goal, like final destination, like I will make the podcast and maybe I will get with this to other places. No, for me that was the final destination, me in front of the microphone sharing ideas. And yet I'm taking a lot of effort to hit the record button. It's not about nervous. I'm forcing myself. And here it is. Let's say I have a passion, and I found the best example why it's happening to me. Because at some point I was thinking, wow, are you really into it? Are you really enjoy the process? Is that what you wanted? Why are you evading? And for me, best example, it's running, jogging. I really like it. I really do. Sometimes I do twice a week, and sometimes I make it once in a month. And it takes me effort. To start doing. It takes me effort to just motivate myself and like, all right, get out, do it. Sometimes I'm playing my morning. Tomorrow I'm gonna, if you remember in the previous in my beginning podcast, I was talking about maybe tomorrow, right? But yes, it is. I'm planning this week. I will have free time in that hour, and I will run. And of course, it doesn't happening, and I feel a little bit. I feel guilty about it, and it doesn't mean like it doesn't matter what shape I am right now, but I really like it, and I really like the feel afterwards, the energy, the the flow, and I enjoy other things much better. Let's just say I had a long day and I was really tired. If I force myself to run, I'll be so happy afterwards. It doesn't matter if I do 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 4, 5. I'll feel much better. And so yeah, I'm constantly fighting that lazy inside of me, and at some point I was feeling guilty about my laziness, but now I'm not considering myself really how do you say like somebody who's make a lot of stuff done, and it's I was thinking that it's curse, but to be honest, at some points it's kind of blessing. Just for example, at some point of my life, I had I had I had some interesting interaction with the people who tried to join me to cult. I mean, real cult, uh, and it's funny. And I was I had no idea it's a cult. I was kind of thinking he's talking about some geometry, and I'm really into sacred geometry. I like the patterns. I like the mathematics behind it. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's simple. Just YouTube the video that's called Mathematics in Nature. Just write it down, Mathematics in Nature, and you'll be really fascinated by how everything designed and everything is calculated with the mathematics. So I was invited by this person to join some teachings and the study. It's like a lesson. All right, I'm coming in. We sitting down. We reading. The read itself was like way like crazy on its own, and I was like crazy on its own. I'm like hearing about like, and whenever I think it's like we from the we have a master, not that the master, like kind of masters from another planet, and like from another galaxy, and they're watching us and everything, and like yada yada yada. Like I'm like, oh my god, what I'm get into, and I was by then I was in like fascinated at type. I was writing a lot of comedy material and said, "Oh, right, all right." The material came to my itself to me. It's interesting, and let me see what's going on. But then I had to continue. I had to come over to uh, other city to gathering. And first of all, I hate gatherings. Nothing makes me more cringe is people at some sort of gatherings. And I was like, okay, it's not gonna happen tonight. This week, I'm not gonna do it because yada yada yada. But then another uh, another step was to make a sort of homework, and I had to sit down and write down this book, their holy book, and write down like 4 pages a day, like 4 pages a day. Am I like I'm I'm not that productive. If I can write 4 pages a day, I hope it's gonna be like my book. But write down somebody else's book, and I do understand logic behind it 1,000 years ago. Yes, absolutely. Even 3,000 years ago, one of the great achievements the civil any civilization made, they were rewriting the books. Of course, back then it was like handwritten, so you had to rewrite it like really 4 pages a day to make a book and start another one. So you've been back hand copying books and manuscripts, and that's how we discovered today a lot of information, because there was a lot of books that saved like that. There was like not only one copy, it was a lot of copies. And part of like a religious groups, they had this like sort of scholarship. It's not that back ago, a while ago. It was like at first 5th, 6th century ago, 6th century, something like that. The scholars, like Christian scholars, start to rewrite this manuscripts and writing down. Don't take my word for the dates. I've listened too much history podcast recently, so the dates can be mixed because I've listened in different eras and different civilizations. And but coming back to the cult. So I was so not into this cult because I had to work, I had to be productive. So I was kind of saved, and kind of saved by my laziness. And this is my message to you, my listener. If you are not productive as society say you are, don't feel shame about it. Ignore it. My take about productivity: make enough effort for yourself to feel better, and taking care of yourself, of course, why not? It's preferred, but don't go crazy about it. Don't work. My bad. I really start to moan now because it's a late hour, and for some reason I'm talking to myself to sleep. That's how interesting I am. But don't feel ashamed not to be productive as society wants you to be. Of course they want you to be productive. Of course they want you to be fooled all day by energy drinks and by all sort of medicine to be maximum productive, and you have to be and you have to study a lot, and you have to work a lot, and you gotta put your heart in at work, because your boss doesn't really want you to pay extra for your effort, but he really wants you to be extra, give extra effort. So yeah, take my word for it. Don't be productive. It will come to you at its own pace. It really is something that some things I was thinking I'm not gonna even bother anymore. I'm really considering it, like a driving license. Yeah, I still don't have a driving license, and you know what? This is the limits I've put on myself, and I really enjoy it. Sometimes it's harder, but I really enjoy it, because maybe it's my Russian nature, but I enjoy go hard, because I don't have a driving license. I commute a lot on bike, and trust me, I'm doing myself a favor. When I come into workplace on my bike, I feel myself much better. I can start work day not from like opening my day with a 2 cup of coffees and start to convince myself to start to work. I actually can enjoy the ride. I can enjoy the I don't have to sit in bus. That's my choice, and I'm living in a city with a lot of mountains. Like I need to I have an incline of 500 meters incline. It's pretty rough, right? Sometimes I'm getting, and I have a hot springs, hot summers, and it takes me a lot effort, but I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. In the end, this is what one of my productive sides of me. I just have to, not because I enjoy more to sweat on a bike than sweat in a bus, or like whenever I pass the traffic and I see people like half dead in their cars. They're like not awake and they're not sleeping, but they're really sleeping. A lot of times I have like dangerous situations because of the car drivers, because they're not paying attention in the morning. Come on, they half woke. Their blood flow is still in a position of sleeping. The blood flow is half a rate, so they can't be driving in a good manner. They can't pay much attention on bikers, bike riders. And it's interesting, right? People who were so excited to buy the car, so excited to have, I have my own place, I have my own space, everybody outside of me. I'm not staying right now in a bus, I am driving the car, and they have a fancy cars and new cars and expensive cars, but their faces are showing something other. He's not there. He's paying for this car not half, third of his paycheck. It goes to that vehicle, goes to this driving device. He spends a lot of time in this environment, but most of the time, 90% of time inside of this vehicle, he's maybe in a rush, maybe he's tired, or maybe he's sleepy, maybe he's annoyed, but he's not really enjoying his ride. Whenever I bike, I have to be in that moment, because first of all, it's hard to think about stuff when you biking. It's hard because you getting too much occupied by pedaling. You getting too much occupied by playing with the speeds and taking care of the traffic, and you need to plan your route, because the bike give me that fluidity to pick if it's a road or it's a crosswalk, and I can I can go much fluid on a traffic, and I need to pay attention to the cars and the buses and everything around me. So I'm really inside. I'm getting in the process. I'm occupied by this moment. The same time, here they are sitting in a car, just thinking about stuff, thinking what's gonna be today, what's gonna be next, and thinking about their life. Maybe I should change the job. Maybe my wife is cheating on me. Maybe I've picked the wrong occupation. I gotta be there. What should I say to my boss when I'm coming, because I'm late for like 30 minutes? Of course he understands, and yada yada yada. It's blabber 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 in their heads, and that's where that's how they come into workplace now. And when they come into to workplace, they're like even more tired than they've been before they start driving. So coming back to my bike, recent recent interesting situation. But before I want to wrap it up, what I'm trying to say, we're not really paying attention what are we doing in our lives. We're not really paying attention the process. We're just thinking about the outcome. We're thinking about what's next. We're thinking about, it's not like, oh wow, I'm at this moment right now and that this is what's happening. It's more like, I gotta get through it, I gotta pass this traffic, I gotta get to the job, I gotta get there. But it's never that feel of like meditative state, that state of you really living, you're breathing, you're walking. We never pay attention how we walk. We start to pay attention of our walk whenever we start having the problems with our legs. That's why we realize, oh wow, I have those limbs working for me for years and I wasn't even paying attention to them. Because we pay more attention to ourselves, to our bodies, to our thoughts, to our people around us, and what we say and how we react to stuff will be much better. Much better as ourselves. We'll understand ourselves better. Destination is important, but the way you get there is important too. Another example from workplace, sometimes people create projects and all the project itself is a mess. Like for example, like build new networks, they're creating the mess in with the cables, they're creating all over the place. Like they create a lot of mess when they're creating project. They don't care, they care to get to destination, that everything will work, but how it looks and how you maintain it. Interesting things I've stumbled upon at my workplace. Most of, even in the most expensive projects they've made, they have zero thought on how you gonna maintenance that, how you gonna keep it in order and looked well. Some points they were like had to, just like break a wall just to get to that piece of the computer. Talking about wall of the tables, they were making like full wooden tables and there was like no access to maintenance the computer. And coming back to my bike, all right. That's really embarrassing story, but I have to take it out of myself. I gotta take out of the system and make fun of myself about it. So one of the evenings I've gone to mall on my bike because the buses was out and I was happy I have a bike to get to mall. It's 10-15 minutes of biking or like 30-35 minutes of walking. And I got there to visit my friend. I've parked in a parking lot and close it on a chain. I've met up with a friend, been invited to go like just walk together, and I said, all right, sure. I'm not gonna bike and walk together. I will leave the bike in the mall and I'll come back next day. But then next day I was occupied by something else, and the next day I was occupied too, and the next day I wasn't even sleep at my house. And about a week passed. One of the mornings I'm coming out to my yard, and I had tendency sometimes to leave a bike there. a lot of time I was leaving bike there, not even chained, because the spot is really tight and nobody will even know there's a bike over there. And I'm really convinced. I was really convinced that bikes are not not a hot commodity. People don't bother to steal it unless they really need it, and they're not really need the bike. Who's gonna steal the bike right now? E-bikes. That's the hot commodity. To steal an electric bike, that's what's really on the shelves now. People really, and that's a electric bike. It's already the most lazy people today are using bikes because you don't have to pedal. So coming up, and that was like morning before work. I'm closing the doors. I'm looking at the place, and like I didn't see bike in my apartment, and I kind of remember I was the same day I was biking to the store, and I had bikes. I remember I've put it here. God damn! They stole my bike. Wow! They stole my bike. I was so convinced it was stolen. I even was the evidence. What's funny? Evidence was in my face. I'm like I haven't chained it, and I see you know there's a lot of workers, and I've noticed they having some construction work in the apartment above me. So of course the people was lurking around there for some reason. I was so convinced the bike was stolen, and I've blamed myself. I'm like, wow, congratulations, you're idiot. Time to go back to the bus. And it was like first couple hours. The next couple hours was like, you know. I have really had it on my mind. I need to spend money on maintenance. I need to fix that. I need to change brakes. And soon is gonna be a winter, and it's okay. It's not really bother. And and I have a skateboard now, so maybe it's like it's okay. Come on, like just a bike. I bought it. I bought it not cheap, but the of amount of money I've saved from the bosses is already paid out itself. And at my workplace, week after a week, one of my is not my co-worker, but we have he works in a different department, but we talk a lot because he have a passion to bikes, and he was like fascinated when he saw mine, and we spoke about it a lot. And he gave me tips, even helped me with the tires. Hell, he's like, I appreciate he even helped me with the he gave me out tire, one like back tire and the saddle, which is kind of cool from him. And he's like actually like, hey, I've seen in the mall your bike back a couple days ago. I was even thinking, like he said, like a week ago. I was even thinking to leave a note like, hey, what's up? And I was like saying, wow, I've recently discovered they stole my bike. And he's like, oh, come on, how does it happen? And he's like, was really like, and surprised, and felt bad about me. And I was like, wait a minute, you said a week? Wait a minute. And then it's just piffing in my head. Like, no way. No way it's happening. And actually, I'm coming back to the mall same day. I'm rushing to the mall. I just like, come on, I gotta take it. If it's there, I have little time because it's already like 2 weeks inside the mall. They're already about to evict my bike from there. And I've seen my freaking bike is standing there. Oh my god, I've extra enjoyed the ride back home. Extra enjoyed. first of the because of the finding, and second, it took me like months I wasn't riding, and taking back that feel of riding a bike, and I was like even like excitement that like first time when you're getting better in the bike, and I was really excited to come back. So yeah, that was that was story on my part. I felt like really idiot about myself and I spoke about it only with a couple friends because I felt ashamed about the story itself. Like when the bike was stolen, I share this story only with a couple. Like it took me a week even to say to somebody my bike was stolen. I said to my friend who's working in the bike store, like, to keep an eye if somebody will come out, and he was so judgmental about it, like, how could you, and what, are you serious about it? Like, dude, come on. I feel guilty already. Let it go. I let it go, but just keep an eye on me. Keep an eye on my bike. Maybe somebody will come over there. And yeah, I was fascinated by the podcast speaking about when I'm riding bike and I'm having podcast in my ears. Really give me time with myself, time to hear it, time to enjoy the ride, enjoy the wind, and enjoy the podcasting. And recently I was coming back about it. Last podcast I was saying I'm gonna have a talk about the friendship and what does it mean to be a friend, and I'm gonna postpone it because that's material I really want to give it a little bit more setup, and give it a little bit more effort for that. Excuse me about not bringing this episode, but trust me, we'll keep it. We'll keep the intrigue. I'll keep you intriguing you about this material. And I've seen even some smart philosophers talk about it really lightly. Like they've wrapped around in one or two sentences, which is pathetic. It's something that interesting to, not wrap it up, but unpackage it, to have it really, uh, really insightful and really meaningful to and give the effort about it. But I've listening a lot of history podcasts, and there's also right now it's what's relevant. It's the politics today. Politics are really relevant, and I'm not really talking a lot about it, but I wanted to touch something that really moved me and give me a real sort of like epiphany, like wow, like insight. I was listening about the history of the French history of times of 18th century, 18th and 19th centuries of the revolutions and the guillotine. I was actually, if I correct, one of my first podcasts I was talking about the last guillotine use was made like 1970, something like that, which is crazy. Well, like, what were we talking about? But it's gonna be more, the whole podcast today will be connected after this take. So revolutions are what I've noticed. Okay, I had a little bit more information about like Russian Revolution 1912, 1914, and all this Bolshevik revolution, and but what's interesting in the French Revolution all the socialism and all the ideas of the ideology of masses was really built into it. And what is interesting that the regimes was changing constantly. Wars all over the place. They were involved in many wars. They were involved in many. It was like if I remember correctly, it was three revolutions in one, like in 100 years, even less. And the bloodshed and the ways, the amount of people were killed, and why I'm talking about it. I'm right now there is a couple there's there that just recently this year there was a in a couple countries already made the revolution, less blood and everything, but they took out the government and they took out the regime. One was successful and in other country it wasn't. Right now in the United States the the masses are like feeling the tension about around it, like maybe it will come down to it too. It's not crazy to think about it. And what's interesting that the people was making those revolutions, make people who's making the ideology about it, and the tools how to clean up the government and clean up all this tyrants. Usually all the same tools were used against them. And it's really interesting that the first wave of French Revolution, they took down the monarchy, they took down Bourbons, and they actually cleaned up themselves, their own ranks too. So it's always coming interesting. The same was in the Bolshevik Revolution too, and it's kind of it's a natural progression. If revolution is happening, it's what's gonna be. They will kill each other in the end too. And of course it's gonna be feel of renovation and economy boom after that, and people will come back to wealth. Of course it's gonna happen because the amount of people they were killing, it's really really wild. The numbers was wild. And after the revolution they start the what's interesting, after the first revolution the Napoleon came and he became the monarch and everyone was happy about it. And after the Napoleon, he again the revolution. Wild. The podcast about the history will really make me fascinated. That's what I'm saying about. I was really lazy to learn history back when I was younger, and I was really never was seen myself fascinated by history again. Like, who cares what happened like 200 years ago? But I'm really interested by that's what I'm saying. I think from it's really not it's really best like saying that people say that if you want to know future, learn history, learn the past. And it's kind of fascinating to see that it's actually how it is. And let's say I'm grasping it. I'm really like hungry to learn more about history. And the way the podcasts are making it, not it's like popular, but it's not too much into dates or numbers. You have it like chronologically, even not chronologically, but it's more about the flow he gives the podcast itself. I really fascinated by flow, how he conveyed. I've actually I'm listening on a he's a Russian podcaster, and it's one of my guilty pleasures that I know my English degrading whenever I listen in too much Russian and I speak too much Russian, and I need to improve my to keep working on my English, but that's my guilty pleasure. And wrapping up about what I'm saying about the politics and about um, productivity. Maybe the reason you're not that productive, it's a natural flow to make world better. Maybe if you were, that's what I'm saying myself. Maybe if I were too much productive, I could join this cult, and I could make, um, I could make, bad moves. Maybe if I were too much productive, could join some political cult to lean left or right too much, or become activist. And I'm not saying it's good, but it's bad. But I'm not really saying it's good. People who can't take care of their neighborhood, who can't take care of their families, become activists, and they want to take care of the country. I'm feeling that we are living in sort of regime, because right now we have a just tomorrow the second lockdown is gonna finish, and the result it's not really positive. They're saying the numbers are get down, but that it seems like this lockdown it wasn't that necessary, but who knows. And maybe that it is. People were so active back then, they were so productive, they had passion to change the world, to make it better, and they were just drawing in a pool of blood that they were creating. The amount of people were killed, and it was wow. I'm really amazed how as a society I'm not gonna say progressed, but we changed. Because back then, the what do you mean back then? 60 years ago, people were still in a generation where like millions were killed, millions. And today we're talking about that every even the kids' rights, it's something that like past maybe 50 years trend. For us, it's a norm. Like, what do you mean? We gotta take care of our kids. They're like weakling, and it's really important. But 50 years ago, it's like, if you're a kid or not, you're going to war. If you can handle the rifle, you're going to war. Like, there's no other way. And also, what is interesting, and the positive note I had, it's a pandemic. Back in every 100 years there was pandemics, and it's not that like our mankind is going out. The things were much worse back then. Of course, every life is matters. Every life right now it's really important to preserve, but wow, back then it was even more wild. So yeah, thank you to joining episode 7. I actually have a lot of topics to cover, and I've covered not that much. I'm looking at my paper here. I spoke a little bit about the revolution. I spoke about the friends. I haven't spoke about that, and spoke about the meditation. That's a really interesting. It's actually was really important topic. That meditation, it's not really sitting in a silent corner and with the closed eyes. It's to be aware what's around you and really enjoy the process. Enjoy what's going on with you. Of course, if you're it's hard to say to somebody enjoy the process if he's like in the middle of disease, right? Like okay, I get it. It's the moments that we want that it will pass. Absolutely right. But if you're all right and everything all right, more than the things that you build up in your head, like anxieties and everything, if you generally speaking feel normal, enjoy stuff. Simple, normal stuff is great if you're paying attention to it. And as always, spread more love around you. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you in the next time. Bye.